This is the Sofabaton U2 Universal Remote, a smart remote with an OLED display that can control up to 15 of your devices at the same time. In this video, we'll take an in-depth look at this remote, giving you all of the information that you need to know to figure out whether or not it's a good fit for you. And this video is sponsored by Sofabaton, so thank you to them for sending this remote out for me to take a look at to give you my honest opinions of. Firstly, we have to open it up. The idea behind this device is to eliminate all of the remotes you have lying around your house and condense them all into one remote that can control everything. And this works for devices that are controlled via Bluetooth or infrared. So you have a lot of different devices that you can connect to this remote. It does not, however, support devices that are controlled via RF or Wi-Fi, just so you know. So it's not going to connect to absolutely everything. Once you open the box, what you'll find is a quick start guide, the remote itself, and 2 AA batteries, which are included, and they say should last about 2 months. After opening it up, my first impressions are that it does feel pretty good in my hands. It has a nice ergonomic grip to it because of the rounded edges and these finger grips on the back. It's kind of comfortable to hold, and it is only 6 ounces, so it's very lightweight too. The buttons are nice and clicky, and it just overall has a high build quality. Now, outside of the regular buttons you'd expect to find on a remote, what sticks out to me most is this scroll wheel and the 1.3-inch OLED screen at the top that helps you switch between your devices. And another nice touch that I notice is that the screen actually does illuminate when you pick it up, and it turns itself off when you put it down, which is cool. Now let's talk about how it works and what devices it works with. According to Sofabaton, this U2 remote works with over 500,000 different devices from over 6,000 different brands. They have a huge database of different remote types and layouts stored up in the cloud. So whenever you're adding a new device, they'll pretty much already have all of the information they need about that remote already saved. As far as compatibility, the main big devices and brands that pretty much everyone would want to see are accessible, meaning it can connect to Roku, Apple TVs, Fire TVs, or pretty much any smart TV. Less common devices are still just as compatible too, so things like DVD or Blu-ray players, AV receivers, air conditioning units, and even IR-controlled lights. Setting up the remote and connecting it to those devices should be fairly simple because Sofabaton has an app in the Apple App Store or in the Google Play Store that you can download to access and control all of your devices. Let's check it out. Once you open up the Sofabaton app, you do have to create an account in order to proceed. You can do so by entering your own credentials, or what I did was the easy route and just use my Gmail account. You can also use your Apple ID. Now once you're signed in, you just want to tap on the device that you'll be using, which in our case is the U2 remote. So you press that, and then it'll ask you to put your remote into pairing mode. All that you have to do in order to do that is hold the dash and E buttons, which are at the very bottom corners of the remote. You hold them at the same time for a few seconds, it'll put it into pairing mode, and the app will pick it up automatically. You press connect on the app, and then you'll be all set. The remote is now paired with the app. And from here, it's very simple. You can connect your devices to the remote through the app, and it walks you through it and shows you exactly what you need to do. Again, you can do it via infrared or via Bluetooth. In my case, in this demo, I use some infrared devices. That being said, you can do it one of 2 ways. You can search through their cloud database of already registered devices. As long as you have the device name and the model number, you should be able to do it that way and have it connect automatically. Alternatively, you can have your remote just learn the specific buttons that you want to use. So if you have a big remote and you don't necessarily care about having all of the buttons on that remote learned with the Sofabaton remote, which is what happened with me, I chose to have it just learn the specific buttons that I want to use for my AC unit. As you can tell up here, I have a mini split AC unit. So instead of using the remote that has a lot of buttons for different options and settings that I don't always use, I just had it learn the specific buttons that I want. The way that it's done is very intuitive. So the app has a layout of the buttons that are available on your Sofabaton remote. All you have to do is tap on the app which button you want to be learned. So in this case, I press the power button on the Sofabaton app. That'll correlate to the power button on the Sofabaton remote once it's ready to use. and then you point your existing remote for the AC unit at the Sofabaton remote and just hold down the power button. Then it can broadcast that signal back from the Sofabaton remote. And you just do the same process for any of those buttons that you want the Sofabaton remote to learn. I was also able to connect this to a few different lights throughout my house as well. one of which is in our bathroom over the shower. It uses an infrared remote, and I connected that very easily. So now I can control that through the Sofabaton remote as well. So after going through the process, demoing this device and actually testing it out, I was very impressed with how quick and easy it was to add devices to this remote. I really dislike having all those little IR controllers all over the house and not remembering which one goes to which device. Not having to worry about where those small little remotes are anymore has been very helpful. And once you have all of your devices added, another great feature of this remote is macros. What that means is that you can have it set to where you press only one button on your physical remote and then have the remote automatically press a predetermined number of other buttons in order for you. For example, I made a macro for gaming here in the living room, so I can have it all set for me to play by pressing just one button. It turns on the TV and the soundbar, it lowers the temperature of the AC unit, and then it also changes the input on the TV to go to the Xbox. That way I'm not messing around with the remote, I can just sit down and play by pressing one button. And using the app, this is very easy to program. Just go into the settings of whichever device you want the macro to start with, press on the app on whichever button you want to assign the macro to. In my case, I use this red auxiliary button. And then from there, you just press that you want to make a macro, and you can add up to 10 commands on this single button on whichever device you want to use. This works very well too, because you can have them set to press in a certain order and after a certain amount of time. So instead of having it set to turn on the TV and then immediately press the input button to change the input, I have it set to turn on the TV and then wait 5 seconds before changing the input to Xbox. That way it just assures that the TV is fully booted up before it tries to change the input. Using that feature makes sure that it all lines up perfectly timing-wise. And once I'm done gaming, I can press that same macro button that started it all to turn everything off and put it back to how it was. And just as a side note, the buttons on the Sofabaton remote are completely customizable. So even though this says volume up and down, for example, you don't have to use them for that purpose. You can set them to do whatever you'd like to. Even if you want to press the volume up button to change the input on your TV, you absolutely can. Again, that is all done through the Sofabaton app. So those are just about all of the major features of the Sofabaton U2 Universal Remote. The only one that I haven't really mentioned yet, but that is a great selling point as well, is that the price of this remote is only $59.99. That's really not a bad price at all, considering the amount of convenience and functionality it gets you. Especially when you look at the main competitor to Sofabaton, which is the Logitech Harmony. Those remotes have been discontinued but are still sold online, and the cheapest one that I could find was twice as expensive as this remote is. And if you are interested in checking out this remote or buying it for yourself, I will have affiliate links in the description that'll lead you right to their Amazon page. Sofabaton were kind enough to provide my audience with an exclusive discount as well, so make sure you use my code WyattTech with 3 T's. It'll get you 10% off at checkout. So overall, what are my thoughts on this remote? I think it's a very good choice for a universal remote that I will personally be using from here on out, just to eliminate all of the other remotes lying around my house. It's very user-friendly, ergonomic, and affordable. What are your thoughts on the remote? Or do you have any experience using a Sofabaton product in the past? Please let me know about it down in the comments. I'd love to have a conversation. And thank you again to Sofabaton for sponsoring this video. All of the links that you'll need will be in the description below. And while you're down there, make sure you set your universal remote to like this video if you learned something new from it. It helps me out a lot. And if you enjoyed this video, I think you'll like this one too. Thank you so much for watching.